All right.
Hi, Jenny. We're recording now.
Hi, Lori. Hi, everybody. Thanks for
Hi,
joining us.
everybody. So we are here today to talk about the natal moon in the sign of Scorpio. So if your natal moon is in Scorpio, this is the video for you. First of all, before we talk about the moon specifically in Scorpio, we're going to just talk about the moon. What does the moon in a natal chart represent? The moon in a natal chart represents our emotional nature. You know, astrology is a symbolic language, so there's layers and layers of meaning under each symbol. And with the moon, it's really, Noel Till, our teacher, called the moon, said that the moon represented the reigning need of the life. He said it a little more dramatically than that because his moon was in Leo. But the reigning need of the life really is represented by the moon sign, as is, on the flip side, the biggest ego struggle. So it's really important to understand both sides of this, that, generally speaking, the younger we are, the more we're still kind of wrapped up in that, the more unevolved side of the moon, the more the ego struggle part. And hopefully, as we grow and get to know ourselves and kind of wake up to who we are and what we're doing here, we kind of step into the more enlightened side of that moon. What else does the moon represent in the natal chart, Jenny?
Well, probably one of the biggest ones is the mother. So this is how you view your own mother, the relationship you had with your mother, the way that you mother yourself and nurture yourself. And then also whatever mother role you might play to others around you, whether that's your own children or even friends or other family members.
Right.
So it really has a lot of signification around that. And then also just the feminine. And I think that in our culture, it's a very patriarchal culture. There's a lot of struggles around that aspect. And this is the feminine for everybody. This doesn't matter if you're male or female. This is the feminine side of all humans that we're talking about here. So those are some of the other ones.
Yeah. And it's also, it's really our instincts. The moon, really, we go to our moon when we're hurt, when we're tired, when we're whatever. When we are in a less aware state, we tend to slip into the moon. And it also, you want to know your moon sign because feeding that moon really is important to your happiness. You
Absolutely.
cannot live a happy life if you're not in a healthy way feeding your moon. So from there, let's think about the moon in Scorpio. First of all, before we even go a step further, I want to think about that. How do you feed a Scorpio moon to be happy? And I'm going to ask you, Jenny, because I know you have a Scorpio moon.
Do you have a Scorpio moon?
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole thing around embracing intensity with the Scorpio moon. So whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to want to go deep. You want to go and find out more about it. You're going to want to wrestle with the transformative nature of it. There's a real introspective piece. There's a kind of a detective, like following clues to understand more about the things that are in the dark. I mean, it's a water sign, but I like to think of it as that water it's the groundwater. It's deep down in the caverns, and it's really important. It's sustaining a lot of life, but you don't really see it. So there's a lot of mystery and uncertainty that surrounds it. So that's from my perspective.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's so in order to feed that moon, you've got to just go really deep. It's, the archetype, some of the archetypes for the Scorpio moon is the detective. And you brought that up. And what are the other archetypes? The catalyst.
The catalyst, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Scorpio,
the psychologist. Scorpio really wants to know what is under the surface. And there's a lot of privacy in people with Scorpio moons too. They want to, the Scorpio moon wants to dig deep and reveal little.
Mhm.
until they feel quite safe.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of that. So what's the biggest ego struggle of that Scorpio moon?
Well, let's see. I mean, the reigning need is about um, being regarded as deep, reliable, significant, self-sufficient. So there's that kind of element of it. But the ego struggle, when Scorpio moon's out of balance, it's wounded,
Hmm.
and because it's wounded, it may want to be vindictive. It may want to be manipulative. It can really be very brooding. And stuck down. And if you think about that scorpion that just wants to go under the rock and
Right.
just be
Right.
brooding under there. So I think that's kind of the ego struggle. And depending what house it
Mm,
falls in, it'll give you more information. Um,
right.
but then on the positive side of that, if you can work into the more um, enlightened areas of the Scorpio moon, it's empowered, it's passionate, it's
Mm.
transformative, and really has the ability to lift up those hard things in the shadow and bring them into the light.
Yeah, to shine the light on what's really difficult and allow it to be transformed.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
it's really important. People think when they think of Scorpio, they think of that scorpion that's hiding under those rocks and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
sting you as soon as you go by. And that is an apt symbol of the more unevolved side of Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think of Scorpio, the symbol that I really like to think about is the phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
that mythical bird that has to go really deep under that rock and see what's there and delve into it in order to transform and
Mm-hmm.
come up fully
Yeah.
empowered. And I think that empowerment of Scorpio is such
Mm-hmm.
a amazing thing. A high level
Yeah.
Scorpio is an amazing thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so with the Scorpio moon, what's your experience of your mother going to be?
Of the depth and intensity of of the mother, the secrets of the mother, the private life of the mother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so at this point, I think we're ready to move into our example
Yeah.
chart. And you had one you wanted to talk about. I will pull it up and I'll
Yeah.
let you talk about
So we're going to talk about Beyonce.
it.
So Beyonce, she has a Scorpio moon. Look at that, and you can see that as far as we know, there's a little bit of question around this time, but as far as we know, it's in the second house. But regardless, there's Scorpio moon right next to Uranus. So she is going to be able to make an unusual impact with that Uranus right there next to the moon. You'll also notice that the Scorpio moon there is very tuned into, thanks for drawing that line, very tuned into her career. So how she's going to show up in public, she's going to need to bring in that deep scorpionic self into the public eye in order to feed it, basically. There's going to be a strong link. And if that Scorpio moon truly is in her second house, then her self-worth is going to require that she is invested in making an impact socially, and she's going to show up. And I don't know if any of you saw her performance at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but it was very much like bringing some really big questions about masculinity and white power into the Super Bowl. I mean, it was pretty ballsy and brave. So I do think she is using some of her status to really make statements about race and what it means to be a woman, and she's really using that power. So
That's really interesting. And I could like go off on this chart so easily, because the only aspects that moon makes is that conjunction to Uranus and the trine to the midheaven. So that is a singular, strong statement. Yeah. That's a really good example, Jennie. Thanks. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, I think that summarizes it. She's great.
So I'm going to, that's a wonderful example. I'm going to also just give you, just to think about, kind of a little listing of people that have a Scorpio moon, because it's an interesting list to think about. We've got my friend Jennie Date is on my list, and some of these people you'll know who they are, some of them you probably won't, but we've got Gloria Allred, Prince Andrew, Tammy Faye Baker, Johnny Cash, Stormy Daniels, James Dean, Zsa Zsa Gabor, who was married 6 or 8 times. That's interesting. That intensity, she must have kept looking for. Lady Gaga, Uri Geller, and Whoopi Goldberg, and Katie Lang. It's an interesting list of people.
Yeah. George Harrison and Bob Marley.
Right.
And Nelson Mandela.
And Miley Cyrus.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a hell of a list of people. Okay. And Gerard Depardieu, if anyone knows who that is. I like that. Okay. So that's it for the Scorpio moon. And we'll meet you next time for Sagittarius moon. Thank you all. Thank you, Jennie.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.